full power!
Gives me the creeps. I feel like something's watching us.
Savick, you go right on quoting regulations.
Hello, computer.
I knew I would.
You betrayed your uniform!
Target their cargo hold. Time to take out the garbage.
Smooth as an android's bottom, eh, Data?
I beg your pardon, sir?
Aspires to be better than I
Come on. It's gonna be fun. 5 years in space. God help me.
This is the best day of my life!
A phaser? You didn't use it?
Swords are fun.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Welcome back to another Retrek review, where each week we talk about Star Trek. And this week, we're talking about Season 2 of Star Trek The Next Generation, and specifically Episode 5. That episode is entitled Loud as a Whisper. It originally aired January 9th, 1989. It was written by Jacqueline Zambrano and directed by Larry Shaw. The synopsis for Loud as a Whisper is the Enterprise brings a deaf negotiator to mediate the end of a planetary civil war. We had some guest appearances in this episode. We had Howie Siego as Riva, Marnie Mosiman as a member of Riva's chorus, the woman. She, I'm sure, has other notoriety, but the only thing I can really find on her is that she is married to John Delancey, who plays Q.
Interesting.
Interesting. Thomas Oglesby, which was another member of Riva's chorus, and he has played in many, many things, but most notably, he played Degra in Star Trek Enterprise. That's who the guy in the hat is.
Yep, I do remember that.
Leo Damien, and the last member of Riva's chorus. He's the one who has like the shoulder pauldron pad.
The artist.
The artist.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had Colm Meaney as Chief O'Brien, Transporter Chief. Richard Lavin as one of the warriors on the planet. Chip Heller as another warrior on the planet. And John Garrett as a lieutenant on the Enterprise. So before we go on to supporters and subscribers of the channel, let's go over to Caleb and ask Caleb what he thought of the episode.
You know, when I was first watching it, probably the first 10 minutes, and I was like, I am not really enjoying this, like, at all, to be honest.
Yeah.
But by the end of the episode, I was happier for sure with it. I'm going to give it definitely a 1. It's right above a Roddenberry, in my opinion.
The one Akuda.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
I don't think I've given anything above a Roddenberry this season so far.
Well, no, you probably
First and last.
You probably gave the Sherlock Holmes one, I think, a 1 or a 2.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, so that's where I sit. That's where I sit with this.
I like it. I think probably everybody generally likes the episode. I don't think there are a lot of people that dislike the episode. I'd be surprised to find that out.
But how do you are you in agreement with me that after like about the first 10 minutes you're like, okay, this is actually okay?
I didn't know. I guess I didn't.
That's funny. It does this thing that a lot of things do where it's like, you know, I knew he was the mediary guy, but when they first meet him, he's like so like arrogant and kind of creepy and almost setting him up to be like, okay, this guy's going to kind of be like bad deep down somehow.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
And he's just not. He's just like a really nice guy, it turns out.
Yeah.
And just like they did not play that well throughout the beginning, that he was, you know.
I do know what you mean. They play him a lot more like a jerk, like he's arrogant and like not
yeah,
like nice. I do agree with that.
And then when he finally loses everything, he's like, I can't do anything. I can't even hear. And he's like all pouty. And it's like, oh. Yeah, no, at first I just felt weird. The Jordy thing is weird, and his kind of relationship with Deanna is real weird.
Well, yeah, that I'll
off
give
the
you.
beginning, yeah.
I'll give that to you.
So all that together, and then his smugness, I just was like, I don't know.
This guy's got to go.
No, we need you.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I don't need him.
Well, that's what you thought. That's partially what I thought. But I think it's time to hear what somebody else thought about it. This just in from not my office, but from my office.
Captain's Log Supplemental. I found this transmission very fascinating. Communicating through signs. Lasers fired, creating skeletons. No saucer separation. Peace achieved through learning language. Time will tell. Don't forget to pick me up when negotiations are over. You sort of just left me here.
I told you we weren't ready.
The saucer separation thing got me. Oh my God.
He came ready for Bear.
I feel like the whole reason he's even started this in the first place was just to do that.
I'm sure.
Oh my God.
Oh, so the really funny thing is a couple of them I watched just to see as my own curiosity, and when the thing started and the three of them popped up, I was like, nope, I'm immediately stopping this and letting this play out live. So
you kind of just left me here, and that's fine. The saucer separation. Oh man.
Yeah, that was good.
Ooh, that was great.
He did that for you. There's no doubt in my mind. Well, thank you very much for that pirated transmission. We don't know how it reached our fields. But now we'll move on to supporters and subscribers to the channel. And right off the bat, we thank Ed Mark Starr for being a Patreon supporter and really understanding disabilities and differences in life, and being content with possibly having his own.
That's funny.
Yeah, pretty good. So we thank him for that, as always. And we had a new subscriber to the channel, and that subscriber is Mariella Lopez. So thanks for subscribing, Mariella. We appreciate that. And because Ed Mark Starr is a Patreon supporter, he gets his comments read during the podcast. So from our latest review of the outrageous Okona, he had some thoughts.
I bet he did.
What he says. He says Star Trek The Next Generation became television's hot ticket, attracting interest from actors throughout entertainment. Joe Piscopo must have pulled quite a few strings to have his wish granted to appear on TNG. Joe was given extraordinary freedom to create his holodeck character, but just like on Saturday Night Live, Joe didn't have a vast library of comedy to draw upon. His appearance on TNG was bad enough that I lost any interest in seeing Joe Piscopo in any other projects, which I find
I can see that. Yeah,
absolutely true.
Good for you. That's how we all felt after this thing.
Yeah. Brett Spiner's Data comes across as a character of convenience, dumbed down at a moment's notice by every writer's bad idea of what's funny.
Wow, man, that's a really elegant way of putting that. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, I do.
Yeah, that's very true. He fits the narrative no matter what, even though it's like he should know that. He should be smarter than that.
Exactly.
I think we say that every week,
Yes. Then he goes on, the outrageous Okona comes across as a time slot filler to me. I have no interest in seeing a rogue Romeo in outer space. and all the planning and production time seems wasted on this episode. At least they cut the scene where Maury Povich confronts the swashbuckling pilot with, Captain Okona, you are the father.
You are not.
yeah, true. I'm starting to feel that early TNG was an open house, allowing anyone with a show idea to simply walk in off the street and submit their story preference. It's horrifying to think that a writer from Saved by the Bell, which I didn't realize they were, could
Screech?
get their hands on Star Trek with no oversight by wiser studio authorities. Yeah. I really liked this comment. That's why I picked it. He had a couple other thoughts.
really
But I
good,
really
yeah.
liked how he boiled down everything into some really, really well said points. And then I enjoyed his last little bit here. He says, better episodes are ahead for all of us, so keep your Earl Grey hot. Yeah. So we appreciate your thoughts on that. And if you would like your comments read on the podcast, you can always go over to Patreon yourself, find a tier that best works for you, and get your comment read during the podcast. But if it's not something for you, you can just wait a day, and we'll likely read your comment on our series, Healing Frequencies Open, where we talk about your comments.
Yes, we read your comments and we comment on your comments. Sometimes in later episodes, we even comment on your comments on our comments that we read about your comments and commented on those comments.
So before we go into the review, it's time to welcome to the review a Vietnam captain member. You know him as Lieutenant Commander Zelex Chud Jahan, but we just know him as John. He's here to share his views on what he thought about Loud as a Whisper. But without any further ado, let's all get into the review. So we come back from the intro, and I thought the solar system display on his desk was kind of interesting. I know it's like remastered, but I thought that was a neat little display.
Yeah.
Remastered 90s technology.
Yeah, it's like early 2000s remastering of like late 80s technology.
Can only imagine what it looked like originally.
Yeah.
In the 50s, it would have been like a ball on a stick that somebody would have been waving around from off screen. Do you feel like sometimes Picard forgets that he's like the captain and what they're doing?
It totally felt like it in the beginning of the part of this episode.
Nah, he was deep
He's
in
like,
thought.
trying to figure out why this ball goes around the other ball without hitting the other ball. And he's like, yeah, that's crazy, Captain. That's how science is. He's like, yeah, anyway, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, well, we're at our rendezvous that you told us to go to. Oh, yes.
Does that thing have any relevance to anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't know if they had like overarching plot points at
They
this
do sometimes.
point.
They do sometimes.
Okay. It didn't get that in depth, I see. That makes sense for the time. Shows weren't like that yet.
No, right, yeah.
That's what we in the show call first and last, baby, first and last.
Yeah, I guess the really first thing I should have started off with is what did you think of the episode, John? That's really what I should have started with.
Wow, what did I think of it? So it's been a hot minute since I've seen The Next Generation. I remember it, as being kind of like the superior version of Star Trek because like that, it's very popular when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And everybody around me watched it and I caught things here or there. I didn't catch this episode, which is probably fine. I will be honest with you, the first half did not have me. But
yeah, that's how I felt.
But it picked up in the middle.
Yeah.
Some may say it started in the middle. I don't know.
It should have.
But it was, it was good. Like good. It wasn't like horrible, and it had its points. Not every day in space is going to be a shootout. So
no.
Sometimes you just have to go and negotiate civil wars.
Well, that makes a great point because into the episode, the line was basically they're like, "Well, we don't police the galaxy," and I was thinking, but then you're sent to problem areas in the galaxy to help where you can, like the police.
All they do
Yeah.
is police the galaxy.
Yeah, I feel like the show doesn't understand what like Starfleet is or does or what the Enterprise is for because
Right.
it's like that's their main objective is
Right.
like helping people like come into Starfleet and policing the galaxy.
Seemed like a
Hey,
big
we don't.
joke. It's
Yes.
like the way Riker was talking to Picard.
Mhm.
He was just like, we're not here to police the galaxy. And Picard's like, that's my line, pal. And then every person they encountered, they're like, listen, we're just going there to talk, right? And he's like, oh,
Yeah.
absolutely we are.
Oh yeah. Huh. Anyway, blow them up. Blow up the planet.
I
This is
think
Fire
personal
focus.
for all of us now.
We are.
I think that the writing just didn't convey that they were trying to get across that they're not here to like literally govern that planet and like change the laws and regulations of that planet, but you are certainly policing the galaxy. It's like the
Yeah.
police don't come inside your home and tell you how to live and eat and do all that, but they're certainly going to come around and help do things. It's like that's exactly what Starfleet is doing. I thought it was really uncomfortable
Yeah.
and weird that Troy just outed Worf's like inner emotions.
Yeah, no kidding. That was super weird. So, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because my issue with her every week is that her whole thing, so John, her whole thing is like she can feel people's emotions and sense when stuff is going on.
Yeah,
But
an
then there's
empath, sure.
stuff, yeah. And then there's stuff that goes on the ship and she's like, I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. And he's like clearly bad, doing bad stuff. And she like never speaks her mind or tells anybody what's going on. And now this week she's like, Worf's upset about something. He's something's real weird with him. He wants to like kill somebody on this planet. I don't know what his deal is.
He's like, no, I don't.
Like, no, mm-mm, I
It's
don't
not
want war.
that.
Oh yes, I feel a need for war from Worf.
Yeah, I feel like they were just trying to hammer it real hard that she's able to like sense people's feelings and what they're
Yes.
thinking and stuff.
Yeah,
And it's as if you've never met this character before in
Yes.
your life when she's been a regular, I'm assuming a regular part
Yes.
of the crew,
Yes.
yeah,
and
oh
the
yeah.
counselor, yeah. So it's like, okay, I understood very well by the time that
Yeah.
they got to him that she was going to be sensing.
But it's like week to week they forget that she has those powers, and then once in a while they're like, oh, we need to like really make the audience remember she has these powers.
Well,
Yeah.
probably because they don't want to make her like OP to things, because otherwise she's just gonna know
Yes.
he's a
Yeah.
bad guy.
Right.
So instead, they do it where it's like, oh, I'm sure you can sense what I'm feeling, and she's like, kinda.
Yeah, that's
I get it.
exactly
Like,
the point, is that she would be overpowered. Like, you have somebody on the ship and she's like, they're deceiving us. They want to blow up the ship and take it. And be like, oh, well, that's the end of the episode then. Thanks for doing your job, Deanna. It's like,
But the other thing that added that was weird with it, I thought it was really strange that Worf is uncomfortable with the thought of peacemakers, despite him being raised by humans and he's a Starfleet officer. Like
yeah,
that
well,
didn't make any sense.
yeah, but don't you remember he's a Klingon now this season? This season
Yeah,
for the
he's
first
now
time he's a
suddenly
Klingon? Yeah.
a full-blooded Klingon.
I see.
Yeah.
I was kind of
Yeah.
like they didn't make it like super super clear, but like Riva
Yeah.
the Great, he brokered basically
Yes.
like the initiation between the Klingons and Earth, right?
Yeah, he was
That's
like a
what they
member.
said, yeah.
He was a member
Okay.
who brought like them together to make treaties. Yeah.
But
Which
I've seen the
obviously,
movies,
yeah.
and their planet blows up, and that's what brings them together with Earth. But that I don't know.
Oh, but before that, you didn't see it.
Right.
He's like maybe go talk to him, and they're like, oh, all right.
What? Yeah, he's actually like 3,000 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peacemakers.
Yeah, that isn't. I feel like that's where they got that from. Will, don't you
Probably.
like this episode?
Probably. Oh, I thought them going into the last thing I had before the music intro started, I thought it was really weird that they beam down and they go down like they're in the thing and they're just walking around and they're just like
That's so
looking
weird.
and then it just goes to
cuts
the
to
end.
it.
It's like, okay.
The entire like whole span of that kind of like Caleb was saying, it just kind of seems like they didn't really. It was just like, oh, we have this mission that we're doing, but like everyone's just finding out about it.
Yes. Yes.
Like they didn't have to do like push some buttons down there to beam
Right.
into like their area. Like everybody knows
Yeah.
about this. It's like it's happening on purpose. They said it many times.
And why was Riker so worried about Picard going on this like mission to get the negotiator when there's like nobody else even on this planet?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. I was gonna
Because
say,
he doesn't go to the planet where people are fighting each other. He just goes down to get the negotiator. That was the only like mission Picard was involved in.
I assumed that something bad had happened involving the captain last time, and that because they were like, it's like, oh, this, this away team, and he's like, this isn't an away team.
Yeah.
And they were like, really, I thought these were all callbacks to something, but
No, God, no, no, that would no, that would make sense.
no, I think it either makes Picard look insane or it looks Riker look insane. I don't know which because Riker's like, oh my God, you're gonna go down there, and he's like, oh, you're a mother hen and all this stuff, and then it's like, but then nothing happens.
Cluck, cluck, cluck.
It's like he goes down, he meets the guy, and they beam him up, 7 to beam up, and then that's it. Like, okay,
I always found that interesting too. Like they're just like, yeah, 7. How do they know which 7?
well, it's never true. I don't think it's ever really broke down in the show. It might be, but basically they use his comm badge and then just look at him talking and the 6 other life signs around him, and then
Whoever's closest. So if
pretty
somebody
much.
dashes in there,
Yeah, exactly. It does happen in the show, so yeah.
Yeah.
excellent. Okay.
I thought Revo was weird immediately with Troy, and that I thought it was
Oh yeah.
really funny that it felt like a really awkward, weird scene where so he comes in, he stares at all of them, which whatever, and then he goes to her, and then it's like the camera change, like everything changes. He goes up, he then explains his chorus, and then Troy's like, after she understands that like this is the libido and like the passion and the artist and all this stuff, and it's like it's very clear it's like the sex spokesman basically, and she's
Yeah.
like, why doesn't that one talk a lot? Like, oh, I wonder why.
That one is he's for the sex.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
they had a history when like he first approached her because
Right.
just because she didn't really evoke any emotions at all.
No.
And his emotions were obviously like mostly coming from his chorus. So it was like, oh, they have history, but then they just didn't, and he just wanted to get in there.
He immediately
Yeah.
liked her because he's a woman. She's a woman. That's like that's the writing.
Yeah. And she was just like, he, she looks at Picard and she's like, I too would enjoy talking to you. Like she chose her words very carefully through just the whole entire thing. And it was really weird.
It was really weird. I think Caleb, you probably have that part. I didn't really have like a ton of issue with him coming back up. Like after that sequence on the ground when he comes up to the bridge and he like talks to everybody. I didn't really have as terrible time with that stretch.
Yeah, I don't care about the Geordie thing. I thought it was kind of out of, I don't know.
So I actually like, because I was looking up the character names because I immediately forgot what like his name was, Riva and stuff. So I looked it up and I saw a little blurb. So the actor is actually deaf,
Yes.
and I don't somebody pitched like, hey, this should be an episode. I don't know if it was him or
It was
somebody.
his wife. It was his wife.
Okay.
No, it wasn't his wife. His wife said to go on to Star Trek, and then he got like an agent, and then they basically he met with a producer. His agent contacted a producer, and then they started to talk. Yeah.
So they brought him in, like, so it was like he pitched the idea of an episode for him to be like a
Yeah.
deaf character. I see. I see.
Yeah. He basically was like doing really well in theater, and they were touring across America and Europe, and then his wife was like just made an off the wall suggestion to do a Star Trek episode, and he was because she loved the show, and he was like, I don't really want to do that. But then he later he talked to his agent, and they were like, well, sure, we'll reach out to them. But then 6 months later, they called and said that they wanted him.
I see. So they kind of like, you know, the interaction of bringing it back to like Geordi.
Yeah.
Just like, you're blind and that's okay. Geordi's like, yeah, I know. It's fine.
I told Will, I was like, I'll be much happier with this episode if I find out that, you know, he was actually like deaf and using like real sign language. So
Which,
that's good to know.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so it seems kind of shoehorned, but at the same time it's not because
Yeah.
it's, you know.
So I get in that scene, I get he was going around and he was physically putting his hand on people's chests and saying, you know, whatever he was saying. What was he saying? He was saying, I feel
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah. But then he explains to Geordi like, oh, you feel the way I feel without my ears about your eyes.
Kind of.
And Geordi like reaches out and like puts his hand on him. He's like, oh, I feel exactly the same. It's like, okay.
I took it as he
That's a
was just kind
little.
of like returning the greeting.
The
And
greeting.
he was. Yeah, he was. He was. There's nothing weird about it. I'm the one that's making it weird. I was like, this is weird to me.
That's okay. That's fine.
Like
Yeah,
not knowing the
I don't-
character.
Yeah.
He just seemed like he was being overly like
Yes.
pleasant to
Yes.
the yeah.
Yes.
But we don't see Geordi like that, though. I think maybe that's why I felt it
Hmm.
was strange.
They
When
haven't spent that much time on his character.
When he expresses emotions, it feels weird to me because he usually doesn't. That's why a couple weeks ago when he was doing the Sherlock thing and he like slams the book and like storms out of the holodeck, I was like, what is his problem? Like, what is going on with Geordi? Because like he doesn't usually show any emotion.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
That's all.
What is this on your
What
head?
the?
Yeah. The thing that, and I get it like plays into his character, but I feel like they should have, I don't know. I don't know how to write it differently, but it felt so out of track that he comes on, he's like him liking Troy, whatever, and her like liking him and whatever. It doesn't, who cares? But him immediately being disinterested in preparing for like the conference and like information about the Solari Wars and anything to do with it, and then just being like, no, I'd like to flirt and spend time with Troy. I found it like really strange and didn't really add to him being like the best diplomat like Starfleet has to offer.
I think him like it's like, oh, it's Riva the Great. I think he kind of gave himself that nickname, and just
Yeah.
because he, you know, he brokered such a huge well, you know, supposedly brokered such a huge like, you know,
Yeah.
negotiation with, you know, two of the biggest factions. He just like, because he literally, they don't mention any other negotiating that he's
Sure.
done. So I think he took that
Exactly.
and just like went with it. Plus he's from like a royal line or whatever. I think they mentioned
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
his
true.
bloodline or whatever. You know, they're all basically
Just-
deaf.
I think the thing that I always just have a consistent issue with is like like they have no reason to really like want to spend time with each other. It's just like she is a person serving a purpose, he is a person serving a purpose, and then he just like for no reason just latches onto her. He doesn't even know she's an empath until like a couple lines of dialogue into their conversation, and it's solely based off of looks. And then I just feel like it should have been like at the like the other way around. Like that should have been like at the end of the episode. Like, hey, now that you've helped me, like let's have dinner and all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah.
No, he's a big deal. And he
Yeah, I guess
knows
so.
he's a big deal. So he acts like it. Yeah.
He gets what he wants.
And
And I
she kept looking at like every time he would be like, so the counselor walks me to my room, and she every single time she just looks at Picard and he's like, "Grr."
Yeah.
It's like they didn't want to
yeah.
upset him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that scene is also weird because like Picard looks at Deanna. He's like, "Hey, I want Deanna to take me to my room." And Picard like looks at Deanna, and Deanna like clearly has like this face of like, "I don't really want
Mhm.
to." And Picard's like, "Oh yes, I know what you want.
Yeah.
You may take the woman."
That's the face she was
Like,
making the whole time, though. Like every
yeah.
single interaction between Riva and her, she was just like taking it. Like she was just sitting
Mhm.
there enduring. Like even
Yes.
when she was discussing with him just
Hmm.
anything, it just she had. I mean, I think she's supposed to have no emotion, right? Like that's her thing.
Mm,
No?
no.
No.
Okay, sorry. I don't.
No, it's okay. Nope. You're not wrong though.
She's also supposed to be the type like where she believes that like people shouldn't be like jealous or overly like embarrassed about stuff like that. Like she's a very
She's professional.
Very neutral.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Well,
I guess I'm speaking more to the fact, Will, that like her and Riker, she thinks that like humans are too
oh,
emotional when it comes to like hooking up and stuff.
true. True.
And since these scenes are mostly about like sexual tension, she's like kind of feels uncomfortable with it for some reason.
Yeah. I felt it was like very,
Everything about it is weird.
yeah, I know. I felt it was very overt when it was like, may I go with the counselor? And he was like, yeah, whatever. And then they go to walk and it's just the one guy. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
that's obvious that he doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, what are you two doing? I'm like, oh, we don't go with him when he does those things.
Right, exactly. Like, oh,
Okay.
Just me and my sex interpreter, thank you.
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So, but that doesn't that raise a lot of like questions that you don't really want answered?
Yes, yes. I'm going to tell you that the way that they present it is that it
Uh-huh.
is in his mind. And so the other guy, because he's attuned to those types of thoughts, knows to just go with the guy. He may call him in his mind privately because he dismisses him quietly. But at the same time, I think it's like an obvious. That's why they can talk so fast. It's like they're only listening to those kind of thoughts.
Yeah.
I would assume, right? I mean, they
Yeah.
don't really
Yeah.
break down how it really, really works.
So if that kind of thing happens between the two, between Deanna and him hooking up, does the other guy, is he in the room? Does he speak for him during
No, it
things
seems like he
or
leaves.
He
It's
he
it's
left
like
during dinner, so I could imagine.
well, that's because she kept looking at him like, is he going to be here with us the whole time or and
maybe
he's
she
like,
was
"Oh no, you can go."
maybe to both of your points, she was looking at him to like save her. Like, please,
Yeah.
please get me out of here.
But that's what I mean. Like, there's a lot of things that like I don't really want to know the answers to these things that they're making me wonder about.
Yeah. He just
Yeah, not
generally and
a
he's a hard character to like because he's like constantly annoyed with any purpose that he has to do and he just is so bothered. And I thought it was really stupid that he goes, they meet. Well, they don't even meet. Picard decides to talk to them, and then they're like, we didn't want to talk to you." And then they go get him, and he's annoyed that he has to leave the dinner, even though that's literally what he's here to do.
he was really like, "Oh my God, of course they need me for something.
He's a big deal and he can't be bothered.
I'm
Yeah.
here to stop negotiations.
He
They
goes,
need me on the bridge now for some
he
stupid
go,
reason."
yeah, he goes up there and he talks and he says his little stuff, and then he goes back and he's like, "Okay, I want this as like give me a topographical view of everything so we can pick a site." And then when he gets down there, he's like, "Oh, I want this kind of stuff." It's like, couldn't you have been doing this when they originally sat down with you instead of like, "Hey, they just literally just ceased fire. We should probably get down there immediately and talk to him." He's like, "Let's take a lot of time now. Let's take a lot of time and like look at the entire planet and find a location to meet." It's like, "Oh, okay."
Please give me furniture.
Yes.
Also on the top of this mountain. Oh, sure.
Yeah, because he
I
literally says
think
with
we need
Jordy,
a
remember, he says,
table.
"I guess you are going to be needed, Jordy." And he's like, "I knew it, sir. I knew." Oh, great.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're trying to get around not using you, Jordy, but here we are. So anyway, we need 2 torches and a stone table. If you can whip those up quickly, that would be great.
So this is the halfway point. So you can go down to the comment section and you can tell us what part of I don't know. I have to say, tell us what part of your chorus is commenting.
That's lame.
It's the horny one.
Yeah, it's the sex one.
So the disintegration scene was pretty decent. Still,
no disintegration,
but I did like it.
That came out of absolute left field. You have these Planet of the Apes people,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden they're at a there's literal stone arches and stuff, and then out of absolutely nowhere they whip out the most advanced technology ever and just flay these people in one shot. It just de-skins them and their muscles go.
Even
I said, well, I was audibly like, oh my.
Yeah, the disintegration. I was thinking about, even Owen and Baru, their skeletons burned for hours after they were disintegrated.
The question that I have, so this is a civil war that's been raging for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How is there anybody left to fight when they get shot once and they're just gone?
I think Riker made the greatest point, right? They are running out of people to kill.
That's what he said. Well, they want peace.
But the other,
no faith in anything.
And the other funny thing too was that I don't know if they were just supposed to look all disformed like that, but it was it clearly looked like they were always fighting, so their eyes were all scabbed over.
Yeah.
But I was like, they're not. That's not what those weapons do.
Maybe they put them on real low settings when they shoot each other. But that guy really wanted to send a message and cranked it.
Maybe after years and years of war, they've evolved into being able to just take it.
I thought it was really lame when they get back up to the ship that the universal translator couldn't figure out gestural language.
What, ASL? Nah.
It's I get that that's fine that Data went and researched it and was able to become a translator, but it just feels like it's a galaxy and there's aliens and you're telling me no other alien talks with its hands. It's
no. But also that implies that no humans are born deaf anymore. It's they've eradicated they're perfect now.
I think that was the point of Pulaski, was to show that which, I don't know, this might upset the deaf community, but basically they can give deaf people hearing because most of it is just some sort of damage to the brain or to the ear canal or something of that nature. Where with him specifically, that part of his brain is just it's not even there. So it doesn't matter what you do. So I think that for some reason, people can still be blind. And that hasn't been fully figured out, but apparently deaf can be figured out. So,
well, that's the thing. Every time Starfleet shows you a little bit more about oh, we don't have this disease or this ailment, and I always go back to yeah, but they can't fix Geordi's eyes. So,
or can they?
Or can they? Well,
because this is the first everyone's hearing about it, including Geordi.
You might be able to fix your eyes, but you might also just be blind. Even worse.
Yeah, I thought we're jumping ahead a little bit.
Yes.
That's fine. I did in the previous thing when the doctor was. I think it was actually here. It was in this scene because the doctor gave him the once over after he got beamed back up, and they meet with Picard, I think.
Yeah,
and she's like, "Yeah, I gave him the once over, and it's a genetic thing, and I can't. There's nothing I can do." And then the counselor was like, "Yeah, he's pretty shaken up." And then the doctor's like, "Yeah, I can't do anything." She just just
there's no help for him.
Just well, I'm done here.
She's like, well, he needs a therapist, and he's like, well, the therapist is the one that went down to the planet with him, and she's like, oh, well, there's no hope for him.
I thought it was really funny, unfortunately funny, that Picard calls out for Riva when he walks into the room and like Riva's like looking out the window and like Picard calls to him and then he turns and it's like, why would you yell out to a deaf man? Like, hello. And like, oh wait,
Yeah, Picard didn't really seem to understand how to.
he didn't seem to understand people with hardships.
He wasn't
Yeah.
doing so great that whole episode though. He was thinking about that model space thing he had going on.
Yeah, it's true.
I kind of like
are together.
Picard grabbing him and like yelling at him. But also, yeah, I don't know. It's just it's a funny
That
scene.
scene that you're talking about, that scene rode that line so perfectly of being like supportive of like, yes, like championing and like we don't abandon people who have difficulties and hardships and disabilities and things of that nature.
Yes,
And then
but also like very offensive.
right. Yes. So,
Like, stop freaking out.
yeah.
It was a get a
Like-
hold of yourself, man.
Do
but
you
louder.
do you
It's
can
yeah.
Mm,
My
Riker's
favorite
just
is
like
what everybody does.
you did
they just
good,
yell
Picard. You
louder.
did good.
The yelling louder doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's like what? Yeah, it's like we've seen it in like movies and stuff, right? Where it's like somebody who's talking to somebody who speaks a completely different language, and they just yell. They just
Yes.
yell at them louder.
Yes. I thought it was amusing that Riva's going through all like so Data downloads all of that stuff, and then he's talking out loud, and Data's like talking for him, and then that's fine. But then Picard says like 4 sentences to him, and Data's like, "Hmm, hmm." And it's like that's it. And I was
Yeah,
like,
he did one sign and that was it. He
I was
gave
like,
up.
That's not it.
I'm wondering, like, this is definitely me just reaching, but I thought maybe he didn't have like a complete grasp on
Maybe.
the sign language, so he was just like he was able to do like the broader terms, but then once Picard got into like a little more specifics, he wasn't able to.
Maybe, but the funny thing is like, why does he understand Troy? Because like when Data and her and they're in the room, he doesn't do anything. He just stands there while he just says what Riva is saying the whole time. And it felt, I don't know, it felt weird to have that scene because you had the dinner scene when the guy leaves and they communicate just fine, well, relatively fine.
Yeah.
And it's like, just have that be the scene rather than Data be there. He doesn't sign back to him, and then
it was strange.
Yeah,
like she made it clear that he could read lips too. So
right,
yeah,
he was very dismissive of her being able to even communicate with anybody.
Yes,
and he was like, you can't translate for me.
Yeah,
you don't have my emotions. And it was just like I was waiting for the line of like, if they see your face, they can feel your emotion. But like that never was brought up because he was very like.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Even that scene, like after his group died, he was very like expressive.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Well, they don't understand emotion," and I was like, "I understand your emotion."
He was still chewing on his humble pie because his character arc, he had to come back down to earth.
It's true. His sleeves were still too flowy,
or soul 5 or whatever they call that.
Yeah, no, his planet was Ramis. Because he does.
I want to go back to Ramis alone.
Yeah. I think the whole thing, and obviously we all know it, but I'll just say it out loud so that people in the comments know too. It's very obvious that they were just trying to make remarks on deaf people, and that Data was like, and the chorus were interpreters, and you don't talk and look at the interpreter, you talk to the individual. And it's the whole concept of like, how do you reach people that are deaf? And I get that's like the premise. It's just like in Star Trek land, it doesn't work the same. You have to write it differently.
Yeah, that's why they made him a little more like pompous and like gave him that air of royalty, just to be like, why would we? Because it seems like he's being rude at first.
Right.
And it's not I mean, he was being rude because he
Yeah,
was,
yeah,
he's
yeah,
cocky. He was cocky
yeah,
about it. So
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
how
yeah.
they got around that, I think.
I think so too. I did like though in that scene, I did like the thank you, thank me thing with Data. I liked that. It made me laugh.
Yeah, I did like that.
Okay, well that sounds like a perfect time for trivia.
Oh, not again.
All right, now you're overacting.
So Howie Ciego, who played it says here in the abbreviated things, he petitioned producers to create a show about deaf people in part to dispel untrue and prejudiced myths about them. In the first draft, he learned to speak overnight after a mechanical translator he used to communicate with his chorus failed. But Howie here suggested that the ending used in the finished episode the day prior. They used what is in the episode. He changed it like a day earlier, basically. That's what they had like abbreviated. But he brought up that there were a lot of things that they talked about with him that like Data would learn it. This mechanic thing would break, and he just thought it was lame. He didn't like it. He didn't want the performance to give the parents of deaf children the false hope that their children could instantly become clear speakers. And he said every deaf child is different. Not all are successful at vocalizing as he is. So he supported the idea of the chorus and then proposed that they just die, and that Data does like this hodgepodge learning of sign language in order to like progress the story. So the writers took to it.
That's funny.
The script of this episode stated that Riva was forced to learn sign language while mediating a conflict in the Pallades system, whatever. The beings involved in the conflict were extremely paranoid and did not allow Riva's chorus to accompany him, so in order to communicate on his own behalf, the deaf mediator had to learn sign language. However, this information did not make it into the final cut of the episode, nor did the fact that members of the family to which Riva belongs do not read or write, although his refusal to write down what he wishes to say suggests this possibility. So basically, it explains if they're all of their people use choruses to talk, like why does he know signs? And so that was like in the script, but they didn't flesh it out. And then the
Yeah, that
last
doesn't
thing,
really make or break anything for me.
no. Show you guys these two pictures quick. Isn't that amazing? So good.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
good
Right.
picture.
A really good picture. There he is.
I
There
feel
he
like I'm
is.
there.
Yep.
In the
But-
olden times.
But what do you feel? What do you feel of this picture? Whoa!
Oh,
Oh,
wow. That's some high exposure.
the Flash was using Flash on that one.
Yeah.
Nice. How long after this did they invent color?
I don't know. It was at least probably a decade.
Yeah, okay. Well, in space there is no color, so this makes sense. It's not
In
fast
space, there
enough.
was only the darkness.
It's really funny because like sometimes they'll have full colored pictures, and other times they're like, no.
Well, they had to do something to make this look good.
And then the last thing I had, there wasn't like a ton on trivia. Sometimes there just isn't. It was story editor Melinda Snodgrass said she was pleased how this episode used Troy. She commented that Troy got to show her claws and she gives this guy a boost, which is true because she usually does nothing on the show. So
Good job.
that's trivia this week. And that was what I had at the end, was that it was nice that Troy had a purpose, finally. Like, her skills were used to the fullest degree. It was nice that she basically counseled him, but also he was using empath thing. Like, all of her stuff, like, came together and was, like, a really great thing. And I genuinely enjoyed Picard, like, literally just taking her at the end of the episode and being like, thank you. And then, like, the episode just ended. There was no, like, he didn't make a joke out of it. There was no, like, ching. It was just, like, and the fade the credits kind of a thing.
So, like, obviously they wrapped things up for like his character arc Like, okay, he's not a selfless, like, full of himself guy anymore because he's going to stay and teach the Planet of the Apes people sign language for some reason, and that's going to bring them together. They can speak to each other. What did I don't understand what like I'm not trying to be a jerk, but like what? Is he
I honestly
delusional?
didn't even think about that until you just mentioned that. That's
So I think
really
what it's
funny.
supposed to be proposing is that since they wanted him and they don't understand them, he will then teach both of them sign language to understand him, which will make a commonality for the two sides. I think that's the purpose.
Because
Ugh.
they only wanted him to negotiate, and for that to happen, they need to understand his language.
Correct.
And nothing brings people together better than learning a language
Yeah.
together.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that's what they were proposing.
Okay. Because he was just like, I'm going to teach them sign language and stay here. And they're like, Are you sure? And he's like, Absolutely. And they're
Oh
like,
yeah,
Okay.
Are you kidding me? I'm all
Yeah.
set up for school. I got this rock table. I got these two torches. What more do you
Like,
need to learn sign
like,
language?
okay, we're going to leave you on the top of this mountain and with no lodging or any way to communicate with these people. Bye.
Because the episode ends where it's just like, hey, I'm gonna be here. You come back and check on me. Everything's gonna be just a-okay. I just picture my headcanon is just like months and months later they go back there and he's just a skeleton on the table. He's just I just want like within the first couple hours the ape people are just like just kill him. Just go. Just go back to killing him.
All right. Anything further?
I would like to thank you for having me, forcing me to watch this one,
You
this episode
are
here.
very welcome.
Loud whispers.
Loud whispers. Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know what you're gonna get. You never know what you're gonna get.
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're good.
Well, we said goodbye to John, but it's not time to go because it's time to do the thing that everyone's been waiting for.
Caleb?
So, Caleb, who gets the Erica Ortegas Award for being the most unlikable?
It's the one pig alien dude that shot the other
Oh,
three people. Yeah.
wow. Wow. All right. Okay.
He doesn't speak for us.
No.
No. Don't do it. Yep.
Very good. Well, who gets the Elizabeth Cutler Award for being the most forgettable?
I think the artist. I think the interpretation of him that was the like artist philosopher. He is the most forgettable.
Yeah, that's true. He does have a lot of speaking parts, but like every time something is discussed, the lady steps forward and talks, which is fine. And
Yeah.
then the other guy is like in all the scenes until he dies. So
Yeah, the other guy, he's mostly just there in the background talking, and he doesn't really have much to add to anything. And then even he like interrupts him when he's like speaking
yeah.
because he's like, wow, yeah, he just goes on and on about stuff.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, next is the Mugatu Award for the best alien of the episode.
The native aliens on that planet weren't bad this week. I thought they were pretty good. They actually didn't just look like humans,
True.
which I enjoyed. So I can give them to those guys.
Okay. Yeah.
That's fine. I'll
But
let it
obviously
slide.
the ones that didn't shoot at all. So right, yeah, those are
Yeah, the good ones.
Yeah, you took favorites with the Civil War. I understand.
Oh, yeah. The whole part about like not being peacekeepers, like policemen, and it's just like, well, then I would just let them kill each other then, because like who cares, right?
Right.
If
If you're
you're,
not right, exactly.
yeah, I don't. It doesn't really bother me that they're at having a civil war on their planet.
Yeah, because we don't police the galaxy.
Yeah, I got better things to do. Hey, we're not space policemen, all right? But we're not just gonna stand by and let these people do all out war. Do they have warp technology? No. Well, we really should probably step in and make sure they don't leave the planet without.
Yeah, without if they don't have peace on their planet, they have no right of traveling in space.
They'll never be able to join us in space. And
Yeah,
who
I don't
knows what
know.
happened if
Did they even go on to explain like
no.
why?
Nah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-mm. It doesn't matter. The point is, Will, that guy is deaf.
Yes, yes.
That's the point.
I
Okay.
was gonna say, I think it would have been a really interesting dark side to it. Is like they have a dilithium mine on that planet, and they're trying to keep peace on the planet. Like just a really dirty,
Yeah.
gross thing that the Federation is like doing. You know?
Yeah. There's some
Yeah, right,
spice trade. Yeah.
right, exactly.
The spice, my friend. The spice. They're all infected by the skitter bugs.
Oh yes, that's where they deposited them all.
Mm-hmm.
Next is the Trip Tucker Award for the MVP of the episode.
I'm gonna say Data. He's the only one that
I like.
knew how to read about languages.
Yep. No idea. No one else. I don't know
If
what
only
he's
there
saying.
was some way to communicate with him.
I like how just frustrated. I don't get it. I don't get what he's saying at all. It's like, but Deanna was able
All right,
to, you know.
Picard. Listen up, Picard. This is the ocean. This is the sun. This is two people walking on the ocean over the sun. Shut up, Data. Shut up. Shut up. I'm not the deaf one. Let's.
Yeah, right. Right. Just move on.
Could
Yeah.
you do that to the deaf one?
I also liked that the images were just like this. It was like, hmm, hmm, hmm.
Oh, dude, the computer graphic, we never even talked about it. It was so funny. It was just like, And he's like, faster, faster,
Yeah.
faster. I
It's
was
like,
like,
oh,
that's
okay.
not. They only drew like 4 different signs for that
Yes.
sequence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that was really funny.
And again, because it's future technology that they can't just have video because video, what's a video? We don't use video
Right.
anymore.
Who
That'd be like a
doesn't?
TV. We don't use TVs. It couldn't just be like somebody like showing how to actually sign.
Right.
It had to be like computer like near, near, near. It was like this is so stupid. That's really funny that you and I have like both been around like sign language.
Yes. Yeah. I immediately like knew half like at least 75-80% of what Data and him were signing because it's like
I
those
I
are
picked up
generally the signs.
I definitely picked up on him like spelling things out because
Yes.
I remember a few of like the like hand like letters like spelling letters.
Yeah. Yeah.
I picked up on that, but
Yeah, I
that
liked
was about
whatever
it.
his planet was. He did like an R with a thing, which he was like indicating this was a planet, and then the R was like the symbol, like either like the
Yeah,
rotation of the planet or like his habitation on the planet. I don't know, but it was like Ramus or Ramesis or something like that. So
yeah, it was cool.
yeah, my favorite is when there was a scene, just because I know a little bit of ASL, was Riva is like he's signing and Data is translating to him, and it's just him. It's the scene where him and Deanna are in there, and he's like, it helps them. They like he's saying like they come together and they really listen and they really focus. And
Mm.
then Data's already said it. Data's already said, yeah, and they really listen. They really listen. And then like a good couple beats go by, and then he signs really listen. And I was like, wait a minute.
But what is even more difficult is to get each side to listen. Really listen to each other. And to understand.
Oh, so he
Like,
was doing it too quick, basically.
yeah, Data was like translating way too fast. Yeah. So just okay. It was literally Brett Spiner clearly doesn't know ASL, and he was just going off of script, and the producers were like,
Yeah,
nobody's
they
gonna
don't.
really know what this guy's
Nobody.
saying.
Deaf people don't watch TV.
Right, exactly. Well, since we're talking about language, next is the Spock Award for the best line of the episode.
It might be controversial, but
Okay.
I'm gonna say that Picard's "We are in this together" line is pretty good.
Yeah, him saying we're in this together. Yeah, it's not
We,
bad.
yeah.
It's not bad. It's just like you said. It just rides that fine line of like it could be offensive pretty quickly.
Well, he grabs him like an autistic kid and
Yes.
yells into his face,
Yes. Yes.
like he has a sensory overload,
Yeah. Like that's really gonna help
But
him. Yeah.
yeah, it's fine.
But no, that part where because it's also good because like the actor how he like plays it really well too. That like him saying like we're hey man we're like you're not alone. Like that all plays out well.
Mhm.
But yeah.
I do think sometimes you are in situations where you just need somebody to grab you and be like, "All right, shut up." And this
True.
was one of them.
True. While talking about grabbing people, next is the Shran Award for the best action sequence.
That's definitely when he disintegrates those three people.
Yeah.
I really did not see that coming at all.
The good one. The good memorable.
You know how you felt when Ginyu takes over Goku's body? That's
Yes.
exactly how I felt.
Yeah. It's one of those things that you don't see coming at all, and then it's like brutal. It's not even
Yeah.
like, oh, they died. It's like, oh,
It's also
wow.
one of those things too, like now I'm like, I swear I've seen that like referenced before. I've definitely seen like a still image of the skeletons standing there.
I'm sure. Next is this NX Award for some sweet ship stuff.
Let's give it to Picard's hologram that he was so enthralled with in the beginning.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were. I mean, you had that. I also thought maybe you would have liked that they were just able to like replicate those things at the end for him too. Like,
Yeah, but I didn't see him get replicated though.
that's true. Okay, fair enough.
So who knows? Who knows how they were made?
Yeah. No, the solar system is fine. I liked it. I liked how it looked. I enjoyed him looking at it. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but I still liked it. Second to last is the Porthos Award for the cheesiest thing of the episode.
I'm gonna double down and I'm gonna hold fast on my opinion that the scene where Jordy puts his hand on his chest is the cheesiest scene.
I like it. Hey, no.
It kind of comes out of nowhere. If we had seen before that Jordy has like emotion, like really
Yes.
is really passionate about stuff, and like or even acted like nobody understands me, nobody understands what I go through or how this is for me, and then this guy comes along, he's like, oh, I totally understand how crippling it can be for you to not have a function.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, you get me. But I didn't feel that way when I saw it happening
Yeah,
at all.
yeah. Him trying to compare his chorus to his like visor was like interesting, but I get what you're saying. Well, that's okay. It's what does Caleb think? It's not what
It's
anybody.
what I decide.
That's right. Which is why we asked the last one, which is the Star Trek Enterprise Award for the best scene of the episode.
I think after his people there die,
Yeah.
I think his emotional portrayal, the way he portrays it on the ship when he's like, you can tell he's like really upset.
Yes.
I think that's really good.
So almost like the lead up to Picard giving the best line of the episode.
Yeah, I really feel the way he's just signing like quickly in his facial expressions, and he's just like, you can just tell he's really, really like upset in the scene.
Yeah.
And then even when Picard's like, "I'm sorry that your friends are gone," he's just like, it's like you don't get it, and I have no way of communicating to you
Right.
that you don't get it. I think that's a really good scene. I think he's really good in that scene.
Yeah. I think to your point, I think the really sad thing is that man has probably been in that situation too many times to count.
Yeah, it felt real, and that's why I was like, man, I really, you know, I don't wish that on him, but I really hoped like that he was actually deaf because he did such a great job in that like in this episode. Like I really did enjoy his acting.
He's a great actor. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no doubt. He's really good. Yeah.
So I was happy to see that that emotion came through and that you could tell that
Yes.
he had been there before.
Totally agree.
So I like that scene.
Yeah, that's great. No, it's a great scene to pick. I like it as well. I don't really know if I would pick anything else. I kind of liked his revelation of Troy giving it to him in the room, and he's like, "Oh yeah, couldn't take a disadvantage. I
Hmm.
can use my own advice." But yeah, that's a good scene.
Yeah, my runner up would be when Data's like, "Thank you."
Oh,
Oh, thank me. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good scene. I enjoyed Data translating for him. I thought that was cool.
yeah, me too. I enjoyed that too. Well, that is what Caleb thought of the episode and the award ceremony for the review. But now it's your turn to let us know what you would give during the award ceremony. Tell us who gets the popcorn award for being the best actor of the episode.
Oh, that's easy. That's child's play.
We'll talk about it in our Healing Frequencies Open video. And while you're down there telling us the middle of the episode thing and the popcorn award, you're writing it all in. Why don't you also go down there and tell us what you thought of the episode? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you want more of it? Or did you find that this was a little louder than a whisper?
You brought it back. Ed knows what I'm talking about.
Let us know down below.
Next time on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Next week's episode is episode 6 of Star Trek: The Next Generation, season 2, and that episode is entitled The Schizoid Man. So we have that to look forward to. So that's next week. We look forward to that. But as always, if you liked this review, like the video. If you disliked this review, dislike the video. Share it with all your friends and family and Trek enthusiasts. Subscribe so you don't miss a review. And ring that bell so you can watch the review as soon as it comes out. And then, after this video ends, make sure you go over to Caleb's channel. Caleb has a fun prop channel where he makes cool things from video game worlds, movie worlds, TV worlds, even things that maybe just come from his imagination. You can go over there to find it out. But if you enjoy Caleb and I talking about random pop culture things, we also have other podcasts over there under the caption of The Nerd Holes. And on a monthly basis, we talk about an 80s or early 2000s, depending on when you watched it, anime series called Dragon Ball Z. And between this episode that just came out and next week's episode, will be another Nerd Holes episode where we talk about the Ginyu Saga.
Yeah, it's good and it's getting good.
Yeah. So make sure you do that. Leave them a comment, leave them a suggestion, subscribe, you decide. We're soon to end our bi-weekly stretch of our Star Trek Adventures RPG game nights. So if anybody who watches this and watches that, we are soon to go on hiatus. We've had a lot of double ups, so you won't really be affected by that for the next couple months, but just letting people know. But yeah, that is the episode. We appreciate you guys doing all of the fun, excellent things down below. And then wait a minute, we'll call back our friend John to give the outro.
Computer. End program.
See you guys!